So we, for a long time now, we have had conversations. Noah and I have had conversations around transactions between those forms of capital.
Right.
So when Noah wants to invest into something, financial capital into something, then it's a natural thing to ask, and almost embodied by now, to, well, what other forms of capital am I creating in this?
Yeah, right.
Right? Yeah.
Cool. So you educate her, you work with her to help her think the way you think about these things.
Well, that's what parents do, right?
Right.
That's the burden of being a child and a parent, that you get have people that put ideas into your mind and you cannot do anything about it. That's
Right.
the burden of being a
Good
child.
point. Good point. Yeah. No, I think like financial education is something that I feel that maybe not a lot of parents are, let's say, fluid in, or fluent, or easy to talk about it with. This is the topic that a lot of grown-ups feel a little stuck on. So when you pass on knowledge to your children about this, it's also a question. Like, my dad was a really hardworking person, born in the Soviet times, and then got into the capitalistic world and had to be extra in order to get himself to a certain point in society. And I think that kind of the reflection of where my country is at, politically speaking, people had to really, really step up their game and change their mentality completely in order to get somewhere, let's say, financially. My question to you would be then, what would you suggest to someone getting out of the world of traditional employment and office jobs, and or even like tech startups world, not really wanting to be a founder of another company being supported by the VCs? What would you suggest them looking into their life to establish certain material wealth without selling their soul to a current organizational, structures?
Okay. I like that you highlighted material wealth here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we distill it down to the bare essence of what a good life entails, it's usually, and we've done very systematic work around the globe around that. So I think I have some knowledge around that and some coherence. It usually comes down to people saying, I want to live with a group of good people, and I want to do that in balance with these people and in balance with the surrounding bioregion, nature, etc. And this does not mean to go out there and start an intentional community or something like that.
Okay.
I had a really good conversation with Joe Brewer, who you might know, around this a couple of years ago, and he put it really succinctly, because he basically said there are communities all over the world who are in need of support to recalibrate with life. They're called villages.
Yeah. Right.
So first step is find a village in a bioregion that somehow resonates with you.
I like it. Yeah.
And then make yourself known and helpful to the community.
Right.
And if you need skills that you want to acquire before doing that, then maybe you should still do that in the shit show. But that's your first step out, right?
Yeah.
So now, let's say then you want to start a family in that place. You might want to have a house. Let's say there is no spare house that somebody is willing to give you. So, but you can maybe persuade somebody to give you like a tiny bit of land somewhere in a corner. You still need a house. Right? How do you do that? It turns out that we've done this for hundreds of thousands of years, really, without the industrial complex, very successfully and very cleverly. Let me just run through a little example of how that might look like. Local materials like clay or dirt, earth, are absolutely magnificent building blocks for a house, also in cold regions of the planet.
Yeah.
To build a house that is magnificently insulated. So we have the luxury of having a house somewhere in the countryside in Germany that is 250 years old. Mm-hmm. So this house was built before the industrialized complex, and it is mostly built of wood and clay. Mm. But in a 60 centimeter outer shell, it has an 8 centimeter air gap in the center of it.
Oh, wow.
So it never gets colder in that house than 8 degrees, regardless of the outside temperature, ever. And so I don't heat it in winter, but I see the temperature. So I monitor that, and it's very fascinating. So with very little effort, you can heat this place. So now, how could you heat this place? For example, you can heat this place with let's call it a bioreactor. Essentially, you're using wood chips, and you let those wood chips compost, which creates heat up to 60, 70 degrees that you can use to heat water that you then can pump through the house to heat the house. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. After the winter, it has composted, so it stops producing heat, but it has composted. Now you can use it as a fertilizer.
Cool.
So that's just a first little glimpse into how to think about this and how to detach from the felt necessity of the abstraction of financial capital to have a house and warmth,
right,
but into tapping into material and cultural and social and intellectual and even spiritual capital in order to have the same outcome, the same result, and maybe at a higher place of happiness.
Yeah? I get it. No, for sure. Thank you for this example. Incredible. Very well said. What brought you to the Region OS meeting?